Alright, YouTube, there is very good news. The United States has dodged a fiscally deadly bullet. The Trans-Pacific Partnership has been essentially declared dead. Of course, if Hillary Clinton had won the presidency, especially if the Senate had gone blue, and the latter, honestly, I expected it to happen. The Republicans outperformed expectations even down ballot. If that had happened, a lot of those Democrats that claimed that they opposed the TPP because their constituents told them it was a bad idea, they didn't want a so-called free trade deal that had nothing to do with free trade and was really about copyright law and governments being sued by corporations, would have jumped on board with it, along with at least a minority of Republicans, because the Republican Party would have been handed a fairly bad defeat, especially down ballot. They would have been conned into supporting it. And so Obama either would have rammed the TPP through, thinking he had a mandate, and probably would have gotten it. Or Clinton would take it up. She called it the gold standard of trade deals. She would have made it arguably worse and then passed it anyway, now that she would have been in control of the Senate as well. And she would have been a total imperialist president. Trump appears willing to negotiate with Congress, including the other side of the aisle, as opposed to perhaps what we've been used to for some time, which is both Republicans and Democrats that don't work well together. So the TPP is dead. Japan just signed on to the deal, but now the United States isn't going to sign on to the deal, which means it is pointless. The United States is the capstone of the entire deal. It's certainly by far the largest economy in the TPP nations. Without the United States involved, it's not going to go anywhere. These other countries can take it or leave it, but it's not going to actually accomplish anything. The idea among those who supported the TPP was to echo NAFTA, that is, get rid of American manufacturing, build factories in the third world states that sign on, where people work cheaper, allowing the investor classes in the United States and also Japan to then front money to these countries, get a return, and use some of that new income to actually pay for the welfare and the unemployment and subsidies you would actually need, because a lot of your own population would be out of work. It is a very, very bad thing that they do when they pass such deals. NAFTA worked the same way. NAFTA increases the bottom line of large U.S. corporations. Then that money gets taxed or it gets spent on political campaigns. The latter more directly is the reason why these trade deals get passed. NAFTA needs to go. Trump should tear it up. What it does is it destroys U.S. jobs. And those people that were making 40, 50 grand a year, they had stable jobs, are now making minimum wage. But it drives the cost of goods down, and then it also gives those businesses more money because they've built factories across the ocean, somewhere else where they can pay the workers 10 cents an hour. And then they re-import the goods more cheaply, and then they give welfare to people. Ultimately, what has fundamentally happened is that it doesn't really change so much the living situation of many Americans. Some of them get outright screwed. For others, it's more like they're getting a crappier product at a lower price and getting subsidized in so doing. And the capital, increasingly, under such deals, moves into the hands of the 1% and of the political class. That's the point of the TPP. The point of the TPP is a power grab. It's to consolidate more money in the hands of Obama and Obama's friends in corporations and banks. Clinton would have done the same. Trump has said, no, it's not going to pass. It is dead. There's no chance that I'm going to sign it. Good. We now have to wait and see whether he will craft another trade deal. And if so, will it actually be transparent, and will it actually be free trade? If it's both of those, I have no problem with any trade deal we make, by the way. The problem is NAFTA and the TPP are opaque. When passed, nobody even knew many of the provisions. A lot of the provisions appeared to deal with copyright law, censorship, and businesses suing foreign states, as well as foreign firms maybe suing the United States, which is, I think, a bad idea. And number 3, destroyed U.S. business. A trade deal that helps U.S. business is fine. A trade deal that at least doesn't do any damage and maybe lowers costs a little, that's fine. A trade deal that decimates parts of this country is always bad news. You tear up NAFTA, refuse to sign the TPP, and invest just a little bit in the needed infrastructure, and we'll have another industrial boom in this country. It would be very, very good for the United States, as far as the common man, the working class. They would benefit from it. It is funny, and my RuneScape just logged out. I was logging some wood. Screw that. It is very funny that the Democratic Party, which claims to be the party of the working stiff, essentially, the middle and lower classes, actually, their leader, Obama, wanted to sign yet another deal, and the former deal comes from Bubba Bill, signed by Bush but crafted under Bubba, that the Democratic Party crafts these deals that actually end up taking a shit on the U.S. middle class. They love the poor. The Democrats, no doubt, under neoliberal leadership, have been great lovers of the poor. They love them so much that they want to make more of them. It's like what I've said regarding Syrian refugees. Obama loves the Syrian refugees. That's why he continues to fund terrorists in Syria, so that there are more refugees for him to love. They love people that are downtrodden. The problem with having a party that bases its campaigns on such an ethos is that there have to be downtrodden people in order for them to win an election. It's become the problem of neoliberalism. It also, by the way, has in a way become the problem of neoconservatism in the Republican Party. These people need individuals to feel completely disenfranchised by government. They don't want the population to be optimistic. If either party, under current general leadership, not Trump or like maybe the Rand Paul fringe, and not maybe Bernie Sanders or somebody, but the core of both parties needs the United States to be in pain in order to get elected using the strategies that they currently use. That's one of the most fundamental problems of U.S. politics at the moment. We're seeing the paradigm shift now. Hopefully things get better. I'm optimistic. For the first time I can say, regardless of whether I agree with Trump on any specific issue or not, and some I do, some I don't, I am optimistic that because we're undergoing a major social paradigm shift, politics will have no choice but to reform the way it does business, and at least for a while, maybe for a whole generation, maybe only for a single political cycle, things may indeed get better. They may stop sucking quite so much. We could enter another boom time, a la the early 80s or the 50s or something like that. There will still be problems. There will still be social issues. There will always be fiscal issues. There will certainly always be problems around the world. Instability, terrorism, war, and so forth. But we have a chance now to go back on 20 years of really bad legislation and destroy it all. And that's what Trump really should do. I mean, he should look into sunset legislation, to force the reauthorization of all bills, so that they don't sit there and clutter up our law books, simplifying things. You'd need a lot less bureaucracy. Half of their function is basically a bunch of lawyers and accountants and things like that, designed to make sure that they're conforming to all of the arcane bills that have been passed for the last 2 centuries. There's no reason for our system to work that way. We can sunset all of that legislation. We can get rid of 99% of what's on our law books. Things will be a lot smoother. Things will be a lot more streamlined. They'll be a hell of a lot more efficient. And the average person, with a couple of years of study, they wouldn't even need a law degree, could competently understand a significant enough proportion of U.S. code to know what they're doing in the world with a concerted effort. It'd be good for this country. But yeah, I'm optimistic, and I'm very glad the TPP's dead. It was a terrible idea. Obama should have known better than to keep pushing it when it became clear that the majority of Democrats, not just the majority of the U.S. population, opposed it. He no longer had a mandate, so he can't proceed with it. The Democrats don't even have the votes now, even if all of them supported it, to pass the TPP. It is now dead. Good. Good riddance. Hopefully we never get another president who thinks such a deal is a good idea. That's about all. Peace out.